and welcome back to the Barely Bookish podcast. Today we are talking about Interview with a Vampire with Candace.
Hi.
Hello. Thank you for joining me. As if
I'm so
we
happy
didn't
to be
just
back.
talk for an hour before this.
No big deal. No big deal.
Casual. It's cut for listeners. It's fine. I am getting very into vampire books again.
Yeah.
So many.
Yeah,
There's
this
so
this
many
has done
good
that to me.
vampires. Yeah, right?
Yeah.
And there's like a bunch of good vampire content coming out, like
Mm-hmm.
Vampire Academy.
Yeah.
The TV show is just came out again because you know how, like they did that old TV show that like
I remember the movie came out and it was very
oh maybe
bad
it's
and
a
I did
movie.
not continue after that.
It might have been a movie. I don't know. I thought it was. It could have been a movie. I don't remember. No, you're right.
Yeah.
It was a movie. There was not a previous TV show. There was a movie,
Yeah.
and then it like didn't get funded for a second
No.
movie. But they
Yeah.
came out with a TV show recently, and I think it's
Ooh.
on like Peacock, Paramount,
Okay.
one of the streaming platforms. I don't
Mm-hmm.
know. And I don't know. It looks good. I haven't seen it yet. I follow Penguin on TikTok, and they keep
Mm-hmm.
hyping it. And I think I need it in my life. I need to go into my middle school vampire phase again.
I think there's nothing wrong with that, honestly. My young vampire experience started with L.J. Smith and the Vampire Diaries. And I remember reading those books when I was like far too young to be able to read them because I went through Goosebumps when I was in like second grade and I was like, I need more complicated stories than this. Like I was just a very voracious reader, and I went to like Walden Books or something and I was like, what is there? Oh, there's Grown Up R.L. Stein, Fear Street. That seems fine, I guess. I don't really care about slashers. And then my eyes kind of like fell on L.J. Smith's Vampire Diaries and I was like, yes, what are you? But then they made the show, and I was like, this is not the book. Why isn't this the book? This is supposed to be like the book.
Better.
It's not like the book. I'm having a hard time with this. I'm not going to watch it. But my mom really likes it, so like she filled me in on how the show went because I was biased. I was doing the book was better thing, so I couldn't get into it.
I like the show. I have not read the book though.
There's a lot of huge departures. And like I'm not really that person that's like, this isn't how this person's supposed to look. This character's supposed to have red hair. Like I'm not really super jazzed about stuff like that, especially like as a black person. Like I love seeing BIPOC people added to casts because like if I could have changed anything about the book, it would have been to have more BIPOC characters in the book. So like that always kind of makes me happy to see, usually anyway. Let's not go off on a tangent. But in the show there was just a lot of like the vibe was different. Like the character of Elena is more kind of introspective. She's less like outspoken. Like in the series, she's kind of presented like she has like a lot of agency and stuff like that. But like in the book, it's like this very romantic, like Bella and Edward style, like slow burn romance where like, like very like Belle and the Beast, like, is there something more? Very like, that kind of mushy stuff. And I don't know why, but it was very captivating to me that this no, you can't have me. I am a vampire. I'm a creature of the night. No, you can't be with me. Don't waste your young life. And she's like, but I love you. Like for some reason that would just like really jazz me up as a kid. Just like I was like, you can't have each other. Like it was so much drama. And I recognize Vampire Diaries, the show, has a healthy dose of drama, just not the same kind of drama. I might try it now that it's not a thing anymore and people aren't talking to me about it a lot. Maybe I'll like it.
There is like 15 spin-offs, so you really can get fully into the universe. I watched Vampire Diaries in high school. That was not high school, in college. That was my everybody's already seen it. I need a binge show. All of it's already out. Let's go. So I binged the living daylights out of that. Then I saw the originals and I was like, cool. I like this family. Not like they're toxic, but like, why are they all hot? Let's watch it. Spicy. Love it. Then the daughter got this like boarding school spinoff show, and I was like, you know what? Things can't get worse from here. Let's just watch it. And I watched it, and I was like, girl. Like
what is that, Legacies?
Yeah. It's like Monsters of the Week, but like I'm just the chosen one and I can't have friends even though we totally were all raised together. I can't
No.
have friends. And I was like, girl, she's like, I don't know. I'm just so different. Just like very pick me energy. And I'm like, chill.
Listen, we already
Chill.
did that in 1997 when Buffy the Vampire Slayer came out, all right? We already did the I'm not supposed to have friends. I'm the chosen one. Literally the
Yeah,
same story.
literally. It's like they're trying to rip off Buffy and also X-Men at the same time, and things are just not going well. And
No.
like also the budget has been so drastically reduced for it.
Mhm.
So like there's a gargoyle on like episode 4 and it literally looks like there's probably if he turns around like a zipper in the back. Like
No.
yeah. Yeah, it's real bad. Like no
What a
CGI.
bummer.
Yeah. Like the funding's just out the window. And I'm like,
Ah,
yeah, I would like ugh. Like the guy that plays Alaric. Yeah. Yeah, right? I think that's his name.
I think so.
Um, he is still in it, and I'm like, what? At this point, what are they paying you? Like, could you just not find another role? And you're like, yeah, I guess. Like, I need food on the table for my family. Like, like, is it minimum wage? Because it feels like it's gotta be.
Listen, he's just out here trying to make a living.
Yeah,
That's
I
it.
I respect the hustle. He's probably gonna be the highest paid actor on there because he's from
Yeah.
like the OG,
Yep.
but find anything else at this point
Yeah.
because it can't be good. Like,
Oh
if the
man.
budget for like the actual show is not good, I can only
Yep.
assume your pay budget is terrible. Or maybe they took the CGI budget and gave it to him. I don't know. Because he's
Probably that.
truly, yeah, he's truly holding the show together. Like, the only good thing on that show. Not saying much, though.
I'm interested in this new Interview with the Vampire on AMC. I've got a lot of questions. My
We
mind
should
is open.
watch it. We should
I'm
watch it.
interested in watching it. Yes. Yes, we can definitely watch it. We should absolutely watch the movie at the end of this because already like I'm like reading the book and I'm forgetting like I've read this book probably 10 times in my life because
Mhm.
I was obsessed for some time. And the rule in my house when I was a kid was you're not allowed to watch a rated R movie unless there is a book version and you read it from cover to cover and pass a test.
Hmm.
Um, which honestly, like if anybody and if any of your listeners out there are like I'm wondering how to raise my children, it will keep your kids out of trouble and it will encourage them to read. So definitely feel free to take that page if you want.
Yeah, I like that.
Um, so like I was in fourth grade, I think, and my mom like saw the size of the text because like it's got real small print in the mass market paperback, and my mom was like, "She's never gonna read this. Like they are never gonna complete this book. I have nothing to
Hmm.
fear." But I did because I had a lot of time on my hands because I was in fourth grade and there's nothing to do. So I finished the book and she like gave me like a little quiz. Like she like looked up like, college like, coursework or whatever and was like, what kind of questions can I ask about this book? And then she
Hmm.
read it and came up with a little thing and like I passed it and she was like, okay, I guess I have to let you watch this now. Oh God.
Yeah.
Um,
We love follow
and
through.
yeah, she did. Like there was a lot of eye covering the first time. But then I went to my dad's house and he wanted to be the cool dad, so I got to watch it with no eye covering and that was great. But I forgot like it's been years since I've read it. I read it, like back to back to back for a long time from like fourth grade until college, really, just like over and over. And
Hmm.
then took a pause, but like reading it, like rereading it now to talk to you has been really wild because I didn't realize how much I've been relying on my memories of the movie when I think about the
Mm.
book because like
Yeah.
the screenplay is written by Anne Rice. So like she was super involved in the making of the movie and everything. She hand
Mhm.
selected Tom Cruise as a stat and all that. Um so like she was very very involved, but like it did so in my mind the two are inextricably linked, but there's a vast difference between the movie and the
Mhm.
book, like vast differences. Um and I had a really great time kind of revisiting these words and like revisiting like her style of writing as well is something that like I very much forgot about. Um,
Mhm.
I hope she rests in peace, but cheers to her for like I don't know if you've noticed AMC has this like whole Riceaverse they're trying to
Oh,
make. They have the Mayfair
that's cool.
Witches coming out soon. So The Witching Hour by Anne Rice, like that's their next TV show that they're making. And that whole series, I think it's The Witching Hour, Lasher, and Taltos. And
Oh.
like in the trailer for the Mayfair Witches, it looks like they're going to try and like bring those other like books in to the circle.
Mhm.
So I'm wondering if after this interview with the vampire is over, if we're going to get the vampire Lestat and they're going to do the whole like Vampire Chronicles, or if it's just a one-off.
That could be
I
fun.
don't know. I'm very excited to talk to you about it though, because it was one of my favorite books for a very long time, and I guess still is. I'm having a nice time.
Okay, so you know, my thing canonically is that I don't know a single thing about the book besides the title and the author. That still stands true. I've somehow missed all of the media about this book, so I didn't know anything going into it, which I
Okay.
think is very clear when you're looking at my notes.
Your
Because
notes are really cute though.
thank you. I You can get them for $1 on Patreon. Just a fun little plug right there. Okay.
Yeah, you
Um,
should definitely get them. They are deeply entertaining.
because okay, so we'll just jump right into my notes. So we're gonna discuss one on this episode. My very first note is, oh wow, a boy is actually interviewing a vampire. I don't know why, but I did not think that was gonna be the case. Like I thought it was like I didn't know what this book was, but I was like, there's no way. Like maybe all the vampires have like a little talk show.
Hmm.
Maybe I did not think mortal boy interviewing vampire was going to be what was happening. Don't know why. I didn't really have a reason. Um but yeah, also another thing, I was surprised that the boy seems to think that like I don't think he really comes out and says this, but it seems
Hmm.
that the boy does not believe that our main man is a vampire. Like
No.
he seems to think that he thinks he's a vampire.
Yeah. Well, you
He
saw
knows
how they
he's
met. Like the boy was in a bar. Like, and it's funny because
mhm,
it's such a throwaway line. Like they like
mhm,
she barely like mentions it, right? Like it's like this very brief line of dialogue where the boy is just like he basically says like he met Louis in a bar, and Louis was like, I guess Louis overheard him saying he likes to report on stories. He likes, to take people's stories and listen to them and hear them and record them. And
mhm,
that's what made Louis contact him and say, hey, like I want to talk to you. So like it was like happenstance too. It wasn't even like the boy was like looking for a vampire or something like that. Like most of the time in, supernatural stories, there's an element of searching, right? Like
mhm,
of like, stumbling upon something unusual, as a person, right? Like Frankenstein's monster, when he's like out in the wild and he like meets individuals and humans and stuff, right? There's
mhm,
definitely a search component of it where they're hunting him down. And then there's a part of it where he just kind of just humbly happens upon somebody, oh, look, a child, and then like has an encounter. But this is
mhm.
like, boy is in a bar shooting the shit, talking to people. Vampire is in bar for whatever reason, mysteriously overhears this and is like, you want to talk to me? I'm a vampire. Boy goes, you're not a vampire. And then that's
Yeah.
how this all comes like so like it's such happenstance. I find that very intriguing.
I didn't really remember that part, so I get it must have been the serious throwaway line because I
Oh yeah,
didn't
totally.
even write it down.
Yep.
But I kind of love that that's how they met, actually. Also, you pronouncing his name Louis, and me in my head pronouncing it Lewis this entire time, or Luis. I was not sure, but apparently both are wrong. Um, that's a fun moment for me. This is
But
why I should listen to the audiobook.
it's because he's French. So that's why he's Louis,
That makes
because he's a
sense.
Frenchman. Yeah.
That does make a lot of sense.
Listen, if it makes you feel any better,
Mhm.
I thought, no lie, that Hermione Granger's name for a very long time was Hermione. For far too
You
long.
know,
Longer than I'd like to admit, really. Until like
s-
I saw the first movie, and it took a
mhm.
very long time for the movie to get there compared to when I started reading the books. I just was going around telling people, you know who I really like? That Hermione. She's pretty good. So don't be embarrassed.
Honestly, I predominantly listen to audiobooks. I usually listen while I'm like walking or working out or whatever
Hmm.
I'm doing. Um, and so I listened to A Court of Thorns and Roses all through audiobook and then like saw how they spelled the names. And I'm like, wait a minute. You're saying Feyre has an E at the end, no A? No. Fairy? No. Correct? No. Or resand is like pronounced like that. And then it looks like hot garbage. You just like dropped your keyboard for a second and you're like, yeah, here you go. That's a name. I was like, no, what? What are we doing here? What's happening right now? Insane. Absolutely insane. So yeah, I don't have a great track record for names. I should just always listen to the audiobook and then take my notes via that. But then like you're gonna be reading my notes, like, who is this guy? Because I wouldn't if you said his name's Louis, I would be like Loo dash E until I figured out how it was spelled because I just phonetically write everything because I don't know
Hmm.
how to spell anything. So I don't know. My
Nothing
notes
wrong
might
with
get
that.
more fun if I start only listening to audiobooks.
I mean, I'll be honest with you. Like, the fact that we're even having this conversation is deeply tickling me. So it was worth it, in my opinion.
Good. Beautiful. Excellent. Um so we get to hear more about we get the general interview setup. Age. Okay, got turned into a vampire in 1791. If I'm interviewing someone and they told me that, I'd be like, okay, okay.
Right,
Because
sure.
no one got just turned like last Tuesday. They're like, yeah, I've seen the fall of civilizations. Okay, and I'd be like, yeah, oh, all right, all right. No one's gonna be like,
Hmm.
I turned into a vampire on Friday after drinks with the boys.
It sounds like you're very self important, sir.
Yeah,
That's what it sounds like. Oh, do you want to be special? Okay.
yeah. I drove my Mercedes Benz out last week, and like that's the energy I give. Someone's like, yeah, I was a vampire in the 70s. Oh, by the 70s, I mean 1770.
Yeah, outrageous.
um, so we get the family talk. We find out that Louis's younger brother was super religious,
Hmm.
that he was starting to get visions, and this vision told him that they needed to sell all of their property
Yep.
and go to France so that the younger brother could be a religious leader. And our main man Louis was like, "You are insane. That's a step too far." He's like, "I'm a man of property. Okay, I take my Mercedes Benz out on the weekends." Like,
Yo,
he
literally
was like,
was like, he was a bit much. Literally was like, you're a bit much. And I need you to like, you're at like a 12 and I need you at a 2, homie. Like, I need you to
mm-hmm,
take it down a notch. Like, I love that he at least admits that it's ego. He's
yeah,
no way is this happening in my time, right? Sure, saints
mm-hmm,
exist. I'm Catholic. I believe in all that all that ho ho and nonsense, right? I believe in all that trash. However,
mm-hmm,
comma, my brother is a regular ass dude. Okay,
mm-hmm,
he obviously is crazy. Like,
yeah,
so you believe in an entire religion of saints, but your
mm-hmm,
brother can't possibly see Jesus? Okay, that's fine.
yeah,
No problem. I feel that. I feel that, sir. That's what we're
yeah.
dealing with current times.
Listen, if someone came up to me and they said, "I think I'm the next religious leader," I'd be like, "Okay."
Yeah. Please take a step or two away from me. A little more.
Yeah, back up. Like I actually had that happen to me once. I was just sitting in a public park and this man just walked up to me and was like, I got a dream last night that I had a message from God that he's coming
No.
back." And I was like, "What?"
No, thank
And
you.
he's like, "Do you mind if I talk to you about it?" I'm like, "I don't want you to speak to me. I am done with this conversation. Please leave." And like, you
Please
know,
go.
and there's like a small part of me that like I pretty open to like most religions. But if I find out at the end of the world after I die and I'm waiting to get into the whatever afterlife is there and they're like, "Yeah, you turned away our God right there." I'm going to be like, "You know what? I don't even want to be involved. Send me elsewhere. That's fine." Like
I feel that.
at that point it is what it is. I'll be a little annoyed cuz like he came on very strong.
Yeah.
And if you're trying to convert people, maybe tone it down.
Back it up. Yeah. Totally
Yeah.
agree. Totally
Let
agree.
me get
Because,
to
like,
know you first.
yeah, like, you don't, like, I don't know you. You are getting at me at a time when I was not expecting to speak to anyone, let alone someone telling me that they are the second coming of someone.
Yeah.
If you can just maybe tone it down a bit, I think that
Yeah,
would make me feel more comfortable in my life.
exactly.
I
So
get nervous when like anyone approaches me. This guy one day was like, "Can I give you this book?" And he had the Bhagavad Gita, and I was like, "Oh, I've wanted to read that. You know, I like texts. I enjoy books. Like, please, like, I would love that." And so
mhm.
he like hands me the book and like holds my hand over like my hands on the book, his hands on the book, because he's handing it over to me, and then puts his other hand on my hand, and I was like, "Well, this is how you die." Like, I was like, "This
Yeah,
is the end. Does anyone know you're here right now? Did you tell anyone you were going to the grocery store? You didn't.
yeah,
What a dummy." Like, clearly I'm fine. I'm still here. I
yeah.
ended up giving those books to somebody else because he like gave me 3 of them and was like, "Pass them on to people that you think would be receptive." And then
Mm,
basically like gave me one of those like, "If you don't, you'll die in 3 days" kind of things. But he was just
yeah.
like, "You don't want bad luck. You want the gods to be on your side." And like I drove back from the grocery store like, what am I gonna do? So I just like went to work and like anonymously left them on people's desks and vanished and faded into the night because I was
Mood.
I was just very freaked out. The whole thing was just, so I get it. I feel Louis. I feel where he's coming from. Um,
Yeah, but then the brother also has the worst reaction, being like, "Hey, tone it down for a second." The brother's like, I'm gonna
dude.
actually commit the unalive, and I'm like, "Oh, that's a
So
choice."
I feel like the unalive, like that is something that I find so compelling too, is that
Yeah.
the self unlife ends up being very like people say that that he was just standing there and that
Mhm.
something pushed him down the stairs, like some ghostly apparition, right? Ended
Mhm.
his life. And in my head I was like, so is that just like old-timey superstition, or
Mhm.
like are they saying like legitimately, like is it old-timey superstition and this person just did this to
Yeah.
themselves, or is it inferred that there might have been a third party?
Well, I was trying to figure out. I was like, does that mean Lestat just walked in, run over, pushed him out, ran back? Like,
That's what I think happened.
I don't. That's because he's like Lestat was trying to get this property sold to himself. So, like, was he involved in this, or
I
like,
110% believe yes. And
okay,
like the when later on in the book, and we'll get there, but like later on in the book when Louis makes an appearance to a certain person, right? There's
mm-hmm,
somebody that he goes to see. It very much gives me the same vibes of the
mm-hmm,
brother hearing things and seeing things and having visions, right? I'm like, okay, so maybe this just the same trick used in 2 different places, right? Like this is just, I agree with you. I think that there's definitely a chance that it was Lestat that killed Louis' brother, for
okay,
sure, for sure.
yeah. I was like, I don't know if this is like not like if this is like subtle contact, like subtle hinting, or
Hmm.
like in the movie, are we just gonna see like slowed down Lestat just being like push,
So
you
the
know?
movie is very different.
Oh, okay.
His brother is not in the movie at all.
Oh,
Yeah,
honestly, I'm okay with that.
yeah, me too.
What's-
There's a mention because they have to like explain why Louis is all shitty, because he's still shitty. Like, you know how he's all like wandering the streets and he's like, "I want to die." So like, you know, there's elements of that still that you'll see, but like no religious subtext in the movie with the brother,
Okay.
thankfully.
Because you don't want to cast somebody for like their 5 minutes of airtime, pay them $1 million, you know? Like, I get it. Like, I'm cool with it. Um, but yeah, Louis not doing great after this.
No.
And so, yeah, he just kind of runs into Lestat and, like, randomly, seemingly, gets completely drained of almost all of his blood.
Mm-hmm. Random in
And
quotation marks.
yeah, random.
Who knows how it happened?
Yeah, Lestat's just like sitting there watching his like wristwatch, and he's like,
Mm-hmm.
"Hmm, all right. Well, I pushed the brother out 10 seconds ago, so should be coming down the stairs any moment." You know, like
Gonna round back, circle
yeah,
back.
just waiting at the front door, like, "Come on, let's go. Like, I got things to do today."
I'm cool. Look at me. I'm so luminous and beautiful. You can trust me. I'm like, no, dude, don't trust him.
Yeah, and then so I love that we kind of like jump around a lot, like
Yeah.
because it is an interview thing and all of this technically happened in the past. Lestat's
Mhm.
like, all right, so then I groveled for a while. Anyways, moving past that, then I saw this priest, and he's like, so I talked to the priest, and I told him everything that happened, and the priest was like, hey, your brother was probably possessed by the devil and therefore lying. And Luis was like, listen. Louis was like, listen, there's one I can make fun of my brother.
Mhm.
But if you say he's possessed by the devil,
How
that's a
dare
step
you?
too far. And then he
Too
drains
far.
the piece of blood. And I'm like, you know what? Cool. I'm okay with that. Fine by me, actually.
I
Good
can't believe like
energy.
he would just like roll up on him and be like, "So your brother was a sinner." Like I don't know anything about him, but I know that he
Yeah.
must have not been correct because why your shitty brother randomly would have been so unremarkable and for some reason God talked to him, I call bullshit. Like, okay, father, whatever your name is. How dare
Yeah.
you? Like, how dare?
How dare.
Really trash. Really trash. Like, who says that about somebody's loved one though? Like who has like
Yeah.
the ovaries to be like, let me tell you a little something about your deceased person. You're really worried and concerned that they're burning in hell somewhere. I'm here to tell you they are. Like, what?
Yeah. It's like anytime. Have you seen those, like, when people talk about how they were at the funeral for someone that, like, uh unalive themselves, and they like are at this funeral and someone's like, yeah, well, they are in hell anyways, and you're like, whoa, there's a
Hey,
time and a place for you to put
not the
your
time.
viewpoints out there. Yeah, like,
Nobody asked for your notes, dude.
literally. I just can't imagine just having the, like, I don't even know, like, just being able to, like, willfully put my viewpoint out there like that. Like,
Yeah. Well, I mean, especially at
why?
that time. I would never
Yeah.
say that even if I believed in it, right? Which like I don't think I believe that that's true. I was raised Catholic.
Hmm.
So like the church tells you that that's true, but in my head I'm just like I don't think anybody is going to go to hell because they were in a lot of pain and mental anguish and like couldn't
Yeah.
deal with the world around them and didn't have like the support system to overcome this problem. Like I'm not going to be like let me be scornful of that person that suffered, right? Like it's
Yeah.
such an extreme thing to do. Like you know that in order to do it, like you have to be in a bad place. So like it's not for me to fucking judge. It's not for me to say. But
Yeah.
like even if I did believe that, like people need peace. Like they deserve peace and comfort when they have lost someone. Like they're already upset.
Hmm.
So like there's literally no reason to say that other than someone's like own vanity. Like other than their own like sense of like righteousness, like self-righteousness. Have you seen
Yeah.
Midnight Max?
Mm-mm.
Okay, so if you're trying to consume some vampire content, uh I highly recommend it. It is by Mike Flanagan, who did The House on Haunted Hill, or The Haunting of Hill House, and The
Mm.
Tale of Bly Manor on Netflix. If you haven't seen those either, highly recommend.
I gotta read the book
Um,
for Hill House first.
so this is like a very loose retelling of Hill House.
Mm.
It's more about like it's less about like the original Hill House has a different flavor to it. This is more specifically about like one family and their experience with this house.
Okay.
Um, but like in my opinion, like so there's a the third in the series that Mike Flanagan did. He actually just came out with Midnight Mass. I mean, the Midnight Club, which is his newest series. That's based off of some YA books. Um, but Midnight Mass is like about this small town, like a small coastal New England town, and what happens when like weird shit starts happening and there's like some vampire-y kind of overtones to it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I bring it up because like it's all about the intersection between like faith, like what faith means and what faith
Mm-hmm.
encourages people to believe and what people can't believe despite having faith, right? And like the kind of like imbalance there. And I feel like that theme is very much prevalent in this like first section of Interview with the Vampire of like what does it mean to have faith? Like what does it mean to believe?
Mm-hmm.
And what does it mean to kind of like carry that understanding that you have through your faith when confronted with something that does not jive with what you
Mm-hmm.
understand reality to be, right? And how we like accept and understand those things. Um, and I very much like see a very like huge parallel in that because it's like people don't want to believe that, like, in the face of something like this, Louis has to go, okay, so I'm regular and my brother was exalted, right? That's hard.
Mhm.
That's difficult for someone's ego. Then you've
Mhm.
got, well, I know my brother and he's not that big of a deal, right? So then you've got like
Yeah.
that shitty, like familial, like sibling rivalry thing. But then to have
Mhm.
someone of the cloth tell you that, like, so how many saints have you burned because you didn't believe that they were extraordinary? Should we have like 5 times the number of saints we actually have, but they were burned
Yeah.
as witches? Like what? You know what I mean? Like it's something that really made it gave me a lot of pause when I read that. I was like, oh,
Mhm.
for a second,
Yeah. Right?
yikes. Yeah.
I honestly just I love the moment too. It's like I can talk trash about my siblings, but the second that you say something, like, no,
Yeah. I love
love
that.
that. It's like one of the few times that people actually get siblings right in a
Mhm.
book, you know?
Yep.
Because
Yep.
very on brand.
Absolutely.
So we do find out though that Lestat wants the plantation. Um, I do really like that Anne Rice does not shy away, like doesn't seem to like glorify it.
Mhm.
You know, like there's a big thing with like writers trying to like write historical fiction where they'll be like, "Oh, but my character like didn't have like enslaved people. Like my
Mhm.
character was a white man who just, went about his business and tried to free everybody." And you're like, "Yeah, okay.
Sure he
Mhm.
did.
Yeah, sure did. I'm totally sure that he did do that." And you said, "Oh, that he also is paying his people a living wage and
Yeah.
is a business owner." Yeah, I'm sure. I'm totally sure
Absolutely.
that you were the different guy. Yeah.
Tell me,
it's
did you face any exigent circumstances from your fellow plantation owners in doing that? No?
yeah. No?
Oh,
Oh.
that's unusual. So no one had a problem with the fact that you were against the status quo? All right.
Yeah, everybody was cool
Sure.
with it. Okay, yeah. But
Yeah,
I
I
also
feel
like
that. I feel like there's moments where like it gets so, and I recognize, I mean, this book is old. Like it was not,
Mhm,
it's not a new book. It is older than I am. How old is this? 1976.
mhm.
So this book is what, like almost 40 or almost 50, right?
Yeah.
I don't know, math.
Math.
Um
Yeah.
so like this book is not a young book. Um
Mhm.
but it's still relatively progressive in that, like in that depiction. There are
Mhm.
definitely some ways that she words things in this book throughout,
Yeah.
not just with slavery, but the way she words some things that get real dicey at points.
Mhm.
And I'm sure we will talk about that as we continue because there are some real like moments.
Yeah, I got a
Hmm.
couple of things that are already in my notes for this
Yeah.
part where I'm like, "Ooh,
Yeah. Yeah.
what?"
Maybe not the best way to say it, but
Yeah.
I definitely appreciate the fact that she doesn't shy away from that. And like I like too that rather than shying away from it and like making her character like absolved, like making Louis absolved from it and then making Lestat just out to be this like terrible bad guy,
Mhm.
instead it's Lestat is okay with the way things are and Louis is
Mhm.
indifferent, which
Yeah.
like I also like that she kind of explores too that she has Louis kind of take responsibility. He does take accountability and he's like, I shouldn't have been
Mhm.
indifferent. Like I shouldn't have second guessed that I had people working for me. I should have been less afraid of them because of the way that they
Yeah.
looked, because they were different than me. Like there's a lesson to be learned and he learns
Mhm.
it. And I think that that's also
Yeah.
very important because like the book isn't about slavery. It's about someone who owns slaves. And because of that, like you can't leave out that part of the story because it
Mhm.
informs who he is and why he has the money he has, and like why he's even in a
Yeah.
position to have us tell the story, right? So,
Mhm.
yeah, I totally agree with that.
Yeah. I like how this was handled 'cause
Hmm.
it's like you basically have two options. You either make yourself a new vampire or you have to figure out a way to handle this very important historical time
Right,
period in like a
right.
proper and caring way. So it's like I don't know. My other thing is I hate when they gloss over it and they're like, "Yeah, so my vampire has been around since 500 AD. Let's talk about the Roman Empire." And you're like, "Yeah, we can talk about the Roman Empire. Can we
Hmm.
also talk about?" And they're like, "Oh, he wasn't in America at that point."
because it was only in
Like,
America.
yeah, it just kind of it
Only
did
America
happen
had that going on.
universally. And they're like, oh, and they like make it like some sort of extenuating circumstances about how they totally weren't around, and they're like,
Hmm.
oh, he was like asleep, he took a little nap or something. It's
Hibernating,
just
as vampires do.
as
Like,
vampires do.
okay, sure. Um,
Yeah, those were the years he was in the wilderness finding himself.
yeah, yeah, more often than not. That's exactly what you
Yeah,
get.
yeah.
Like one of the things too, like the new AMC series that we can definitely and should definitely watch at the end of this.
Mhm.
Um, one of the reasons that there's controversy is because they decide to update the story, right? So instead of setting the story in the late 1700s, which is when this takes place, like the flashbacks anyway, take place in late 1700s,
Mhm.
they bump it up to like I want to say it's probably the early 1900s, like
Okay.
1910 or something like that. Like it's like the dawn of the millennium or something like that, the dawn of a new millennium. And the actor who plays Grey Worm in Game of Thrones is Louis, so he's black, and people
Okay.
are obviously very upset about that for whatever stupid reason. But what I like is that they do kind of update it, right? They like flash it forward so that they can avoid, because the first thing I thought was Louis is a slave owner. He has a plantation. Like, please do not tell me that you were going to still make the same exact story and you're just going to swap
Yeah.
him in, because I would really have a hard time with that. So if we can maybe
Yeah.
stay away from that, that would be great. And they do. They like totally sidestep it. So now I'm like, okay, so there's a whole new story that
Mhm.
we can kind of glean from this new series. Like I'm sure all the baselines are there, but the core of who Louis is has been kind of turned on its ear a little bit, and that kind of
Mhm.
excites me to see.
Yeah. I
Hmm.
kind of like reimaginings. I think they're fun, so I'm
Yeah,
excited. 'Cause
yeah,
that'll be fun to explore.
big same.
Okay. So then we get Louis and the Stats, what I'm gonna call their reign of terror. Um
Yeah.
yeah, so they drain the overseer of blood for unknown reasons. Basically,
I'm
they
not going to
turn
argue. Overseers were trash people, so I'm
yeah,
fine with it.
yeah, yeah, yeah. It's fine if they had to pick
Yeah.
somebody, like
I
whatever.
mean, yeah, there are worse choices to make.
Yeah, it's just like I mean, all I'm saying is I don't know if I would if why he's going after his own people when there's
Mm,
plenty other people around, but
yeah.
if you
I'm
had
not
to pick
asking
somebody,
questions. Yeah.
if you had to pick
I'm not
somebody.
asking questions. Like, they gave a black man that was enslaved his job and his house, and his wife and kids got to like move into this nicer house. I was like, I mean, could have been worse.
Yeah,
Like,
could have been
I'm okay with
worse.
it. Upward mobility. It's fine.
Yeah,
No
it's fine.
problem.
Hire within.
Yes. Yes.
Promote within.
Promote. That's it. That's it. I was actually kind of impressed. Um, Not by Lestat though, by Louis. Lestat
Yeah,
is honestly
trash.
quite terrible. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So, oh, I was starting to really get the vibe though. For a minute, I thought Louis was bi. I thought him and Lestat were going to sleep together. That is where I thought the story was going. I thought we were
Hmm.
gonna get some very good queer energy. Um, no, I have been denied so far in part one.
That's
And then
just
he like
because Lestat is trash. Like, if he wasn't
okay,
trash, like, I think Louis is bi, and I think Louis does throw down some queer energy. Because, like, when he's
yeah,
talking about Lestat, he talks a long time about how fine this man is. And
yeah.
that's very gay. So I was
Listen,
like, most dudes are like, yeah, he's a good looking guy. I could tell that a
yeah.
man is attractive. But Louis is like, his skin. I'm like, oh, okay, cool.
He's like his voice
Yeah.
is so charming and hypnotic,
Hmm.
and I'm like,
Yeah.
well,
Real gay.
Louis, I gotta tell you, you know what they call that? Gay.
Yep. Very, very, very gay. And that's okay, homie. I'm here for it.
It's
I'm here for
yeah.
it. I love that for you. Please keep doing your thing because I'm enjoying it.
When they had
But
to
yeah,
share a
but then
coffin,
he's like, I just fucking hate this dude.
I thought sharing a coffin was an innuendo. Okay, I was like,
Yeah.
oh,
No, every
share a
second Louis
coffin.
is like, I need to get away from this motherfucker. He's horrible. Can someone
Yeah.
please get me out of here? He is the worst. I totally forgot. Like, that was one surprise coming back to this that I completely forgot, was how he just cannot stand Lestat. Like, from jump. Like, 5 minutes in, he's like, why did I do this?
Yeah. Yeah, he goes from being like, "Oh, this guy's pretty hot," to being like, "Ugh." Like, he's
Yeah.
like, "The second this
Trash
guy
personality.
speaks."
It's like the opposite of a butterface. That's what it's like.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. Oh,
Yep.
it's so funny. And then Lestat says he needs to go outside and poop, which makes me laugh, but then I was like, "Oh my god, they don't have plumbing."
No. Yeah, and he's gotta go get, like, all of his death stuff out because, like, we all poop ourselves when we die, apparently, which I'm glad that we're dead so we don't have to, like, think about it, but it's
Yeah.
rough to read about that.
I do
The
like that that's
inevitability.
included though. That they're
Yeah.
like, "Yeah." He's like, "Otherwise you're gonna poop in the coffin," and like, "I'm not getting another one. I'm not doing it."
Like, so casual about the poop. I was like, "Hmm, respect."
Good vibe.
Yeah.
It makes you wonder how many times Lestat's done this though.
I agree. He didn't seem surprised.
Yeah, that's what I'm
Yeah.
saying.
Yeah.
So, Lestat is trying to talk business. He's like, "So, I'm gonna take over your plantation." And Louis is like freaking out. Like he's like actively having a panic attack, like in the corner. He's like, "I'm
Yep.
dying, I'm dying." And Lestat's like, "Yeah, but you're gonna like come back to life. It's fine." Anyways, so sign here and here and here. And Louis is like like paper bag breathing,
I'm glad that he kept
freaking
his
out.
wits about him enough though, so he like didn't sign over all his property. Can you imagine the
Mm-hmm.
nightmare? Especially
Uh
because like it's not even like Lestat is alone. I forgot his dad is there the whole time.
oh yeah.
Like his old man dad is like, I'm so dead. I'm dying. And Lestat's like, I want nothing to do with you. I am just doing you a favor because it's the 1700s and I'm supposed to be respectful. So
Yeah.
I'm allowing you to live in this mansion that I'm living in and I will sort of take care of you, I guess, if I have to. Oh, there's no one else? Fine. I guess
Yeah.
I'm taking care of you. And
So
Louis
yeah,
is like, can you just be nice to him for 5 minutes? And he's like, no.
he's
What?
like, "Me? Nah. Nice try though."
Horrible. Horrible
Literally a
person.
terrible person. Um, and then Lestat's basically like, "Okay, here's the rundown. Crosses don't work. Stakes don't work. Okay. Anyways, that's all you need to know about being a vampire." And then he's like, "All right, chill out. Get in the coffin. We're going to bed." Louis is like,
And then like then the boy is like, wait, they don't? Like the
"Yeah."
second the boy was like, wait a minute. In my head, I'm like, I just imagine the boy like sitting at his desk, like noting the pain in his like right butt cheek because there's a gigantic wooden stake in it and a cross in like the other back pocket, and he's just sitting there like, no, doesn't work.
No, doesn't work.
Fuck.
Oh,
What am I gonna do?
yeah. He's like, "I'm just gonna, don't mind me. I just carry these everywhere. I'm gonna just set them on the ground here, though."
It's normal. It's normal. Don't look.
Um, so the coffin is single individual person sized. So when they go to stay on it, Louis has to lay on top of Lestat, and I'm like, again, ooh, but
Yeah.
I was once again denied. So this is where we really get into Louis not being remotely interested in Lestat. Big roast hours. He's like,
Oh yeah.
"Yeah."
Big time.
And then he's like, "Yeah, nope, I don't like him. He rushed through things. He's a terrible trainer." It's like, when you start a job and you're like your boss is like, "Here, this person's going to train you." And they like don't have time for it. And they're just like, "I have like 15 projects I need to do." So like, "Here, fine. Don't you better take notes cuz I'm only doing it once." And you go, this button, this one, this button. This button, this one. And it's like, can you do it a second
Mm-mm.
time?" And he's like, "No." Same energy.
Very same energy, except
Yeah.
higher stakes. Much
Higher
higher
stakes
stakes. Pun
because
intended.
murder. Yeah. And then so we get to Louis' first kill. They decide to go after a runaway group of enslaved people. And I'm like, of course you do. Of
Hmm.
course you do.
Sure.
Because like we can't have nice things.
No.
And of course Lestat picks it out and he's a terrible person. So why wouldn't they pick out a group of, you know, highly vulnerable people in the middle of the forest?
Like, the one thing that I did like though is that it didn't seem like personal. It was just like, these dudes are here and no one's looking at them. We should get them, right? Like, it was
Yeah.
really that simple. It wasn't like they're leaving our plantation. How dare they?
Yeah.
Revenge, right? It was no one's around. Here's these four guys. Go kill that guy. And Louis like, I'm not killing a guy. What do I look like?" He's like, "A vampire." Louis like, "No, I know, but like I'm not killing this guy." Lestat's like, "Okay, I'll kill the guy." And then Louis like,
Yeah.
"No, I thought the guy wasn't gonna die if I didn't kill the guy." And Lestat's like, "All the guys are dying whether you kill him or not, buddy."
Yeah. Lestat's
You're
like,
like,
no one's
"All right."
around, so it's not like you're gonna get in trouble. We'll just kill all of them, and then there's no witnesses.
NBD,
Uh,
man, just get in
yeah,
there. And Louis
get
like,
in.
"This is despicable. I won't do it."
Literally though. Oh,
Poor
it's
guy.
just yeah. They're like in the forest, like they had to trek all the way to get there, and then he's like, "All right, so we're gonna kill these people." Like, how did Louis even find them, or Lestat even find them? Unknown.
Oh, probably with
Here
his
we are.
vampire eyes, because vampire eyes see all.
What
So,
can you see with your vampire eyes?
mhm,
With your special eyes? What is?
yep.
Oh, so good. Um. So then we do get the one thing that will actually kill a vampire. If you continue to feed on someone that's already dead, you
Mhm,
will die.
yep.
Solid choice, respectable. Um, After killing all the people, Lestat then brings Louis back so they can like casually play a game of cards. Louis,
Mhm.
however, is having a mental breakdown
Oh,
and
yeah.
is totally losing it.
Big existential crisis.
Yeah.
Other slaves are noticing. They're like, "What's going on here?" Lestat's
Yeah.
like, "Be cool, man. Be cool." Louis like, "Not cool. Too sad."
Yeah. Yeah, all the people around the thing are like, "Wow, it's really suspicious that this guy just like moved in, and now he seems to be like, the guy that like, runs this plantation seems to be having a breakdown all the time. This
Yep.
seems kind of weird."
Yep. I love how like his sister and his mom, like Louis' sister and mom are like still in the picture, but they're like in New Orleans. So like they're
Yeah.
away from like Pointe du Lac. But like
Mhm.
while they're away, like his sister gets married and like comes back to visit him. And like whenever he takes business, he just takes it from the bed and like makes sure that like all the curtains are closed and like hides like inside of his like four poster with like the
Yeah.
covers pulled up like I don't know, Bob Cratchit or something in like a Dickens novel. He's like, "I'm too weak. I must take you in here in the darkness." And like nobody thinks that's weird. Like I know by modern standards that would be really messed up, right? If I like, can you imagine like coming to visit me at my house and like you get shown to like a pitch black room with like one candle in it and I'm like in a bed and I'm like, "Rachel, come closer. I can't quite hear you." Like that would be ridiculous. But because it's the 1700s, that was like normal shit. People were like, "He's just really sickly. He's just ill.
Yeah.
This is totally normal." Like what?
Same energy as those people that have their Zoom camera on, but it's pointed at the ceiling.
Yes. Yes. Big same. Where you're just like, is there something I should know? No, I'm
Yeah.
not allowed to question it. It's nosy. Okay.
Okay.
Never
Just turn it
mind.
off. Just turn it off. It's weird. I don't want to look at your ceiling fan.
Come on, man. Because you know eventually someone's gonna like make a mistake and that shit's gonna come forward and you're gonna be like, "Oh, so you've been nude this whole time on the call. Got it."
That or they've been like showering or pooping or something.
Yeah.
Did you see that news article where that guy was like in a conference and then he like takes his camera not realizing like takes his laptop not realizing his camera's on this whole time and he's like pooping on the toilet.
Yes. Oh my god. So that happened to more than one person. There was a lady that happened to too. Somebody sent me like a
No.
video that because it was there. It was actually it was like a friend of a friend of a friend, and they
Uh-huh.
were like, "This happened at work today," and someone sent it to me, and the lady was like, "What?" Like you could see her like trousers down and everything, and everyone's like, "Um, Angela, hey, your camera." Everyone's like trying to tell her, and she's just like tra la la, like on the toilet. Terrible,
That's
terrible,
why
terrible.
I if I have to go to the bathroom in a work meeting at all, I just don't bring my computer. I just don't care what I miss.
Correct. That's the only way. I think one time I was like, you know what? I can't miss anything. So I
Mhm.
left my computer on my bed
Mhm.
and I just like went to the bathroom so that I could still hear it like through the door. But like,
Mhm.
I just left it in the room, like outside of the
Yeah,
bathroom, and just like turned it up really loud so that I could hear. It's just
I've
not
done that
working
with
gracefully.
I've done that with like class calls where I just make it
Mhm.
really loud and
Yeah.
leave the room. Because I've had like multiple times where like, if I'm in a class, they're like, all cameras have to be on and you have to be present the entire time. And I'm like, dude, I have indigestion. What do you
Yeah.
want me to do? Get a
Yeah.
bucket? No.
No.
Deal with it. I'm not going to stay here the whole time. Like,
No.
weird. It's
It's
weird.
worthless. It's
Yeah,
worthless. Just let people live their lives, man.
truly. Um, Louis also decided to consider himself morally superior to Lestat.
Mm-hmm.
He's correct, but it's a self-reflection, okay? Um, and then we also get a moment of Lestat cutting rats' throats open to put it in his wine.
Yep.
Vibe. Get your
Yep.
vitamins. Whatever.
Yeah, but then like shit talks it though at the same time.
Yeah, he's like, this
Like
one
he's
tastes
like,
very good, but whatever.
so you can do this. It gets cold really fast and really clumpy and disgusting because it starts to congeal. But you could do it. And then Louis like, all right, so animals then? And Lestat's like, no, people, you idiot. I mean, I guess animals if you have to. Like,
Yeah. He's
why
like,
even bring up the animals?
he's like, if it's a crisis, I guess if you had to, but ugh,
Blood snob. That's what it is. Blood snob.
truly. And then we also get Lestat forcing Louis to sleep in the same room as him over and over
Mhm.
again,
Yeah,
which
very
is
gay.
weird.
Hmm. Yeah. Gay, but like in an abusive way.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Like, why?
Big bummer.
Like, you
Big
could just
bummer.
not.
Like,
I don't know.
I think part of it is because like he loves Louis. Like,
Mhm.
even though he's shitty, like he obviously just like is obsessed with him. But then
Mhm.
at the same time, I think he's like, this one has a little too much piss and vinegar. He might try something in the night. And Louis like, Lestat might try something in the night. Like neither of them trust each other.
Yeah.
You're just like,
And
can you
then
guys break up already? This is too much.
literally. And then Louis like, you know what, fuck you, dude, and takes his coffin and drags it down the hall into his brother's old room. And like the imagery in my head of that, so good. It's so
Dude,
good.
he
So
drags it
funny.
outside to the oratory. He goes
Yeah.
outside of the house because, like, you know how he builds him like the vestibule and stuff. He builds him like a little like place where he can like be like at one with God or whatever, like in
Mhm.
the yard. He like builds him like a she shed basically, but a God shed, right?
Yeah.
And like it's like made of like the stone and all that stuff. And like that's
Mhm.
where he puts it. Like not even in his brother's old room. He's just like, fuck it, I'm leaving the house. I don't even want to be near you. And goes like out to the
So
yard,
good.
like so
So
hardcore.
I
Like
love
he is
it.
sending a message. I don't think anyone's listening to it, but he's sending it.
Yep, the message sent, delivered, received. Top tier. I want to keep going, but that is where we have to end for this week's episode on the cinematic masterpiece that is Louis bringing the coffin
Oh
all
yeah,
the way outside.
big time. It's
Time
okay. We have
flies when you're
so
having
much.
fun.
We have so much more to cover,
So much
and
good
like
things to cover.
this is a lot of drama in a
Mhm.
very short amount of time, and then there's just
Yeah.
more drama. Like it's just more drama after this.
I'm so excited. All right, but Candace, where can all the people of the internet find you doing cool things?
So I have been Candace. You can find me online at Candace the Magnificent, pretty much everywhere. At that Candace Girl on Twitter. My pronouns are they, she, and I am a queer and Black TTRPG performer, GM. I'm also a writer and a musician and a variety streamer. So if you are interested in Legos or video games or ukulele concert covers, cover concerts, or if you like tabletop role playing games, please definitely give me a shout. Take a look at my stuff. If you see something you like and you want to see more of it, just hit me up. But I will be back to discuss more Interview with the Vampire, and I
Mhm.
love this book, and I love Rachel.
Aw, I love you. Thank you for joining me, and we will all see you next week, where we're going to
Hooray.
talk more about Louis being dramatic and the stat being a terrible person. All right, we'll catch you all in the next chapter. Bye.
Bye.